Okay, let us start. So, last class already discussed about exceptions. Okay, I will share the slide video also. You go through that. We will quickly skip to next portion. How to create a custom exception. Okay, before that, you just go through this diagram. Okay, so throwable class, there are two types of defects or problem issue that can be handled from the Java point of view. One is error, another is exception. Exception is of further two types. One is checked exception, another runtime exception. Okay, file not found exception is one type of checked exception which can be handled at compile time. And another example, array index of bound exception. Okay, divide by 0 arithmetic exception. They are runtime exception. Okay, they are handled in during runtime of the program. Okay, so error are internal to the JVM. So if there is any issue regarding those, then those will be handled by internally by JVM. No need to do anything with the program. Okay. So programmer only can handle check type and runtime exceptions. Now today there are three important exception handler. The one is try, catch and final block. Okay. Are you getting? Am I audible?
Yes,
Okay, yes. Okay, so the code which is written inside try block, if there is any error, any defect or any issue will happen, then that will throw by that try block. Okay, then this will be handled in the catch block. There you have written in this syntax catch exception. Exception is the super class of all exception class. Okay, arithmetic exception or file not found exception are the subset of or the subclass of this exception class. Okay, and finally in the final block, whatever the issue you want to raise or give a warning message, that can be handled in the final block. So whether there is error or any exception or not, the final block will always it will always run. In either case, whether exception will happen or not happen, final block will always run. Now let's go to the hierarchy of exceptions. Okay, I can write a custom exception. Okay, I will create a class as my exception which will extend exception. Then I can write my code there so that this can handle my exception. So what do you mean by this custom exception? This class what will do? Okay, this is the class where I want to catch all the exception or handle all the exception belong to my program. Suppose I am buying or I am calculating price of the bought stuff. What are the stuff I have bought from the market? So I am calculating the price. So I have created a class. Then I will write the calculate my price. So suppose there is some exception. Okay, I can gather all the exception related to that class, and I will write a separate exception class for my case, and then I will write all the handler exception handler. Okay, so it is similar to try catch block, but let us see how I can write. And yes, I can write multiple catch statements. Catch exception 1 type exception, then immediately then there will be let us see here. Okay, this is one block, this is another block. I can print stack trace okay, or I want to give a warning message, or I want to stop the system, or I want to collect the garbage memory. Okay, so those issue can be handled inside the exception block. Okay, and so there may be multiple catches block after try block. Okay, now how to handle those multiple catch statements? Okay, that is a question. Okay, you try to read it from the book, and the next class we will discuss that. If there is any such issue, that multiple case statements, how can you handle this exception? Suppose one exception occur. Suppose I have called arithmetic exception, then I have called another exception called as divide by 0, or suppose another exception related to the that operation. So which will be handled? Okay, so that is the question. Okay, it is to you. Now let us go to the next section where you can write our custom exception class. So this is the custom exception class. Okay, so I can write. So how will you write? Class my exception extends. This is our main class, exception class, and inside that I have created a constructor. Okay, this is a constructor, right? Constructor, you remember?
Sir?
Constructor.
Yes.
You have not gone through constructor, default constructor, constructor with single argument, constructor with multiple arguments. Okay, so we'll revise those class once again. You meanwhile you go through those class by the video or link. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now here I have called a constructor with my exception class. Okay, that method, it will take a string message and simply it will write the message. Super. So this is the super class exception, and I will pass this message, string message, to that. So it will simply print the any error or the exception related message that will be printed on the console. Okay. Now question arises: how will I handle or catch those exceptions? I will use a keyword throw. Okay. So inside my program, so whenever I think that there will be some error, suppose file handling issue or the some operation, there may be some issue. Okay, there may be several issues. So in that block, I can simply write this throw new my custom exception. Okay, so in the code we will see how we can call this one. Throw new my exception class. Inside that I will pass this message. So what it will do, it will call the constructor and simply print those messages. What message it will print? Message exception, because I have passed this tree. So we'll see one example in the Eclipse IDE, then we will be more clear. Let us go to the next slide. Yes, so this is the example where you have try to throw my custom exception. So first of all, know how to create a custom exception. You write a Java file with myexception.java, okay, and put this code inside that, and in the main class exception text, you write public static void main. Inside that you write try block. Then you simply write a statement. Suppose I have written here x is a value. Okay, you are getting the value from console. X, suppose x is an integer. So int x, I will use scanner class, scanner sc dot next int. Okay, then I will get the value, and I am checking whether it is not null, not 0 or not. If it is not 0, then my program will throw new my custom exception class, my exception with this message, my exception. Okay, so what happened, this block is inside try block, and obviously this will be handled by the superclass exception class. So then I have written, this is the catch block, this is a try block. Okay, so I have written throw this exception, and the catch block will catch that exception and print the message. Okay, you try this out in your Eclipse IDE also. We can try now here also. Let us see. Okay, this is the case. Now suppose you are sitting on a tree. Okay, there are several branches. In the lower branches, the main method is there. In the upper branches, other methods are you have called. So they are called from the main method. Okay. So whenever there is some error, so you write those methods inside try and catch block. Suppose you throw a exception. Okay. In case of try catch block, if there is error, so it is immediately handled by that catch block. If it is not there, what will you do? The compiler will ask that lower branch will handle that exception or not. So in the lower branch we have to write that exception, try catch block. Whenever you call the method, you put that inside the throw catch. So whenever you can throw anywhere from the branch, but the lower branch or the lower method, or the curly method should handle that exception. How do exception? Using try catch and finally block. That is the main issue. That is the main funda of this throw exception case. You can anywhere from the code, anywhere you can throw. So you don't want to handle the exception or defect issue inside that code. Okay, you simply throw, but the curly method, which is will call that method, that must catch that block. That is the issue. Okay, it will be difficult for you for time being. So just remember how to create a custom class, custom exception class, and how do you handle this one. And remember this throw new exception class. Okay, you can put throw new arithmetic exception or simply superclass exception method or your custom classes. Just remember 2 points. That's it. And there will be more concept regarding this also. So we'll see gradually. Okay, time permits, we'll see. Now we'll stop here. If any doubt, just ask regarding this exception.
No, sir.
No issue.
Yes, sir.
Okay then. Next slide. We have seen this example. Yes. So this is the concept. Okay. Once exception has been thrown, it must be cut by a calling method or subclass method in the chain. But the chain, you are calling a method, another method inside another method. So that is a method chain. Okay. So the calling method, the method which calling another method, that must handle that exception. We have already discussed that. So suppose I have written a method static void divide by 0. This is spelling mistake. Divide by 0, and here in the method itself I am throwing this exception, throws arithmetic exception. Okay. Then I can simply add divide by number, 2 numbers. I will take 2 numbers int a, int b, and I will store the value into c. C is equal to a by b. Suppose b will be 0. Then in that case, what will happen? The main method is calling that divide by 0 method. So that's why it will catch the same. Why this is how this will catch? because you have put inside this try catch block. Okay. Once you have a written try catch block, all the exception can be handled. What are the exception that will be handled by the catch block? Okay, is it clear? There is another method where method itself throws the arithmetic some exception, any subclass of exception or superclass exception. Okay. Let us see, let us go to the code, let us see what you can do. Yes, the last class we have already discussed this one. Okay, so these are exception test main class. This is a simple class. Inside that I have written this method. Suppose method exception. Okay, that method. So these throws the exception superclass. Okay, and inside that I am trying to divide two numbers where the divided is 1 is 0. So m is 0 here. So obviously that is a defect. Okay, because that will give in some garbage value or some ambiguous value. So that is not defined in the arithmetic operation. Okay, so here I have written try and catch block. So immediately what will happen? So it will print the stack trace. Okay, let us try this one. Then finally it will write it will execute the final block. This is the case. Okay, or other hand, if you just don't put here try and catch block and you divide all this issue, and inside main method if you are calling, then it can be handled with try catch block. Let us see, just run it. Okay, you will try another example. Okay, here I will call this method.